Hello, everybody. My name is Riccardo. I'm here with my friend and collaborator Kimber Flynn. Hi, Kimber. How you doing?
Hi, Hi, Ricardo. I'm doing really well. Thank you.
Where are you now?
I am actually in Charlotte, North Carolina right now. Yeah, we're expecting snow, which never comes, but yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank
Well,
you.
global warming is everywhere, really. And I'm in London. And so today we're going to talk about a topic that we're both very passionate about, which is we've been thinking about the title of today's conversation, and we decided to go for this one, which is Impact Report Unleashed: Conversations on the Future of Digital Reporting. Kimber's been focusing on ESG reporting and impact reports for, I don't know, 15 years or even more than that, Kimber's.
Yeah, I've been doing digital reports for over 30 years actually, but just sustainability the last 15 to 16 years.
Yeah, and so recently we were talking about on the back of a sustainability event that we both attended about her work and my work, which is not necessarily linked to digital reporting, but it is linked, and we're gonna talk about that right now. So I focus more on visual storytelling. So I run a company called Storo, and we help companies, purpose-led companies, to drive change and inspire action and connect in a more meaningful way with customers and internal and external stakeholders. So yeah, so today we want to talk more about digital reporting. What's the future of digital reporting, and how can we bring storytelling, film, and creative tools into the digital reporting space? So obviously, Kimber's got a lot of experience in that kind of area. So we're just gonna have a conversation about that because we both agree that there's a lot that can be done still in terms of making. ESG reports more impactful and engaging. So Kimber, I don't know what you think about that. We've been having the daily and weekly conversations about that for the last weeks and months. So a lot of time digital reports are still written by compliance teams and rather than marketing professionals. So how can brands, you think, better bridge this gap between regulatory compliance and engaging storytelling? So what is your experience? What is your take on that?
Yeah, in my experience, a lot of the brands that I have worked with have been very kind of disengaged with their marketing and branding departments. It's been very separate and siloed, especially over here in the US. And so for me, I really just think that there needs to be a bridge between the two. We need to bring marketing and branding into the ESG and the reporting landscape just to, align on the messaging that's going out for the company. That sustainability message really builds trust and transparency with your various audiences, because if you only speak in your reporting language and you report with your sustainability message or vice versa, and they're not connected, that's kind of really inauthentic, and that kind of comes across to your different audiences. So to kind of align those two, you can actually amplify the messaging and the different assets that you're creating over like a 6-month period, designing these
Yeah.
reports. Really amplify, like I said, with the interviews or data or anything like that, that then you can pull
Yeah.
out and for campaigns. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I think one of the things that we discussed as well is really making sustainability part of the main narrative of the company. I mean, clearly there's different companies who are on a different sustainability journey. Sustainability for some companies is one of the pillar of what they do, how they do it, as part of their products and services. Some other companies, sustainability is just one part of what they do and what they believe in, which is fine, But I think one of the things that we discussed together also in other conversations that we have is that we had in the last few months is also that sustainability, first of all, is a journey. It's not something that, it's not like a rocket science. I mean, at the same time, science plays a big important role in that. That's why data are also very important, but it's also what you do with the data. But it's a kind of narrative that, especially when it comes to ESG reports, one of the things that we discuss is that if you just create the report and nobody reads it, and it's most of the time is written in a way that only people with a certain knowledge about sustainability can understand. But that's it, it's most of the time it's a PDF or a mini site. What's really the point of that? Like, so can we do something better? So what do you think? Is it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, right now, I think reporting is only talking to investors. And investors are really only going to be looking at the data. They're just really pulling out the appendices and things like that. What I really want to focus on and why our partnership is really meaningful is to take this data and information, like you said, and kind of make it more digestible, more understandable for various audiences, whether that's your employees to understand what you're doing in sustainability so that they can then be, brand ambassadors for you and promote that, but also like consumers and customers and future investors. I mean, Gen Z and millennials, they really just want to hear about a brand sustainability platform and their values, and that's who they're going to buy from. And so it's really important to kind of use this report to not only share your goals and initiatives to, investors and board members, but also the whole community at large. Just look at everything because it's really important and it's going to become more and more important as we continue to go on. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we need to look at it in multiple ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also one of the things that I think is quite interesting to explore is really to finding different ways to more engaging way to translate into these digital reports into something that is more engaging and more impactful. It's really the use of storytelling. And I always say to clients that you are sitting on a mine of stories already, and you're probably not really aware of that, so we can help you to bring those stories to life, and especially our focus is sustainability. There's some incredible stories that are already there, and nobody tells. Sometimes they're already in the ESG report, sometimes they're not, so you need to dig a bit deeper to find them. But there's some incredible potentials to really, I mean, for example, if a company is supporting a specific NGOs or charity on a number of projects across the globes. I mean, those are already incredible stories that we can tell through documentaries, digital contents, animations. But the fact that these companies, they're not used to do that, or they're probably worried. There's a lot of worries about greenwashing, of course, and that's why I think one of the key elements is that we start in any kind of storytelling exercise that we're gonna start. We start from the data because that way we can really tell the stories and without avoiding any risk of greenwashing or green hashing and all the other washing that we know. So it's yeah, so I think it's quite exciting, but there's a lot to do, and there's not many examples also, don't you think?
No, there's really not a lot of examples. I mean, there's a couple of different companies that are doing innovative things. I think Google is doing a series of YouTube videos for their reporting initiatives, which is, I think, kind of innovative. And I think everybody, has seen, Apple's, video report that came out, or like video intro, I guess, to their report a couple of years ago. And that was really the first time we kind of saw video come into play with reporting. And people remembered that, whether they liked it or disliked, how they did it or what they were saying in the report. It was memorable to them, and they digested that information. So yeah, there's that, and there's also like Ben and Jerry, for instance, like they do little Instagram reels, with just little highlights and infographics on social media, just to really meet the audiences kind of where they are. That's where most of your customers and live. So
Yeah.
why not create content on social media? I mean, I think that's just a no-brainer there. I think I just see some things on LinkedIn and professional networks, but I don't see a lot in social networking.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I agree, and that's exactly why what we're trying to do at the moment. So it's yeah, no, that's very, very interesting. And I mean, also one of the things that we are focusing on is really story, because I think building stories and narratives, it is really about creating something that is engaging, and also it's kind of aligning everyone, in one direction and connecting people on a more emotional way. And I think that's what we're trying to do as well with our partnerships. And I think it's very exciting because a lot of time the communication when it comes to sustainability is actually very dry, very there's a lack of funding and budget going in that direction. But it's not only that. I think it's the advertising agencies and the creatives not necessarily are working there, and so it's complicated, but I think there's a lot of opportunities there.
I do too. I mean, I feel like a lot of the reports are kind of maybe led by, the writers or consultants who are doing the frameworks and also, the compliance teams and things like that in the organization. But we're really wanting to, in our partnership, like you said, come in and really map out the storytelling journey for the users throughout the report. And have multiple ways that they can interact with the report. Some of them may want to just download a little highlight sheet or something, or there may be some social media components, or there could be some, like I said, video, long form or short form video that we create content that they can then go and experience if that's what they want to do. But also there's really cool stuff coming up with like interactive gaming and rewards and competitiveness and things like that, or also even VR experiences to experience what you're doing, would be another kind of really, I think, unique way to story.
Immersive experiences.
Exactly.
And that's something that I'm really keen to explore. And I think also for me, there's almost like a sense of responsibility for a company that decides to invest in sustainability storytelling, which is and that kind of goes beyond KPI and all these kind of data-driven measurements, and it's really about embracing what else can be done, and also admitting the fact that we are on a journey. Nobody knows everything about sustainability, and it's really kind of saying, well, it's about being authentic as well, and the fact that and that's what I like also, even though it was a bit controversial, the Apple video, the fact that it was quite clear that they didn't hit all the targets that they wanted, but they were quite honest about that, and I like that. I like the fact that rather than greenwashing or saying things that are not actually true, it's much better to say, well, we've done this. We were planning to do something else. We couldn't, but we can do better from now on, So it's having that kind of honesty. And I think as companies are scared of being honest. And I think it's important that, especially if you want to have a more transparent relationship with your customers, but also with your employees as well, as you mentioned before, especially the younger generation are more and more interested in working with companies that really sounds behave, but also sound very close to their hearts and their
Kind of
values.
walk the walk and talk the talk for sure. Yeah, they're very aligned with that. Because I mentor a lot of college students, and that's what I hear first and foremost is just that there's not enough speaking to them, and they don't want to go through the PDFs, the 100-page PDFs and stuff. They just can't find a lot of the data that they're looking for.
Yeah.
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 And then, over here, in the US, I mean, well, probably around the world, as I work with clients around the world, but there's a lot of greenwashing going on. I know a lot of people just create the report and put a link on their site and never, announce it to anybody and things like that. And, I really see as a report designer, all these amazing stories, in the social section and in the community section, employee sections that never really get told, because they're buried on a website somewhere. And that's kind of, how we started talking, is really kind of bringing those stories to life and bringing them out of the reports. And who knows, this industry is changing so fast, and maybe it becomes, as reporting is going to more integrated and they're kind of going into combining sustainability with annual reports now. And now I've seen 300-page reports, not just 100. Now that they're together, they're like 300 pages. Maybe there's a whole different vehicle that we create, as marketing professionals, maybe a sustainability snapshot or a sustainability campaign that mirrors and mimics and parallels, I guess, the marketing and the reporting aspect, and we kind of come alongside and create all of those campaign assets and messaging and
Yeah,
storytelling and things like that that a company can use. Because why not use this focused time when you have all the people with the data already working together for 6 months? Why wouldn't you come in alongside them as marketing professionals and storytellers and then use, that and start creating those assets alongside? It just makes sense. To work together. Yeah.
yeah. I think also another aspect there we touched in some of our conversations as well that I wanted just to share today is as well is that um as we both agree, there's no it feels a bit like we are the pioneers of these. There's not actually many agents, people in creatives, marketeers, etc., doing what we're trying to do here, which is really kind of
We're landing on the moon. It's like our first step on
yeah,
it.
exactly. And but I think one of the things that I know we discussed and I wanted to share is the fact that probably some of the examples that we saw are pretty much related to what can you do in terms of producing one video perhaps or two videos that can capture some of the elements of these ESG reports. So most of the time is an animation, or it could be the CEO talking on a piece to camera type of video about whatever they're planning to do or they achieved in the previous year. That's okay, I think it's better than nothing, but I think that's just one video or two videos, and I think one of the things that it is important is really kind of to build a year-long narrative around sustainability. And as you told me like a few times, a sustainability report, a ESG report, it takes months and months, So why not using those months to build different kind of narratives around the ESG report, so that we're almost like immersing and internal, external stakeholders into that kind of sustainability journey. And I think that's really important, because that way, we can really change the narrative, which is miles away from the doomsday type of narrative that a lot of time we see in news. So we can change that narrative, but we can only do that if we create multiple films, events, really campaigns, integrated campaigns around the ESG reports. And so the ESG reports, and I think the way we see it is almost like the ice on top of the cake, or the cherry on top of the cake, or the tip of the iceberg. It's just the starting point of a much bigger narrative.
Yeah. And, and it's not just, ESG reports. It could be anything. Honestly, it could be anything from like the climate transition reports. It could be annual reports, impact reports. I know in the US, it's a little sensitive to say the word ESG now. So, any kind of reporting, I think can be made into this kind of narrative, and so that people can, like I said, really pull what they need to out of it. And, one thing I've seen too and thought about is maybe even creating out of each section, because there's certain sections that are in each report, maybe making a video per section, and like using that as an intro to a website. But also coming along the storytelling aspect is, as a designer as well, creating that interactive journey digitally. So, we would be doing both, which would be, I think, great for everyone, but also just more engaging. And like I said, it would really push brands forward, I believe. People who really want to make a purpose and, like live their purpose and make a difference in the world really need to kind of, I think, it would be great if they could all step up together and really start, aligning on this, sustainability messaging, and, not listening necessarily to people who are trying to hide it, because our planet really depends on it. Honestly, I mean, it really does, and our future for our kids, depend on it too.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also one element that I'm really really passionate about is really to dare more when it comes to communicating sustainability. So sustainability doesn't have to be boring, doesn't have to be data driven, as we already said. It's exciting, so it's that kind of sense of journey, of story, so it's almost like we are the hero in this journey, but we as employees as well. So that's
Right.
one of the things that we are quite passionate about. Is also how can we get employees, internal and also external stakeholders involved in that narrative. So it could be all sorts of projects that we can design. So that the ESG report is a starting point of a series of projects, activities, creating
Conversations.
work,
Yeah.
so that they feel that they are the protagonist of that. It's not just one of those boring activity that
Right.
sustainability departments will organize so that they can tick their box and say, oh yeah, we've done sustainability. So there's so much more that can be done, and that would help to build culture, to a sense of purpose in people's, and also create an emotional connection to the cause. And I think that's something that it's essentially what we're trying to do here.
Right. And then they just become your raving fans. They'll go out and people will ask them about, well, you work for so and so, and, what did they do for sustainability? And now they'll have the actual, understanding of what you're doing and be able to really, answer that question and also maybe recruit people, to be future employees. It only makes sense to like include them in the conversation and also include them, like you said, in the storytelling. I think some of the most impactful stories are the employees, and how sustainability affects them, because it's not just about climate. I mean, it is about climate, but it's not. It's also about other things that they do, like training and, different kinds of paternity and maternity leaves and different initiatives that they have, to make your life as an employee better, competitive wages and things like that. So I think a lot of people kind of forget that a sustainable company is also a really good company to their employees.
Yeah.
And yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely. Wow. So as you can see, we can talk for hours about these. Like,
And we have.
because we might do another one of this conversation. I find it really interesting. It's a good way to get some clarity as well on what we are doing, as partners in this new collaboration and new project. So it's very exciting, I think, but there's still a lot of work to do. But I think it's a very exciting time because the clock is ticking. So
It is. It moved up.
moved up. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Kimber. And yeah, who knows, we might do another one soon.
Definitely.
Bye bye. Cheers.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye bye.